Welcome back, you guys. Today I'm going to walk you through how to make my whipped chocolate frosting. So the base is very similar to my classic American buttercream, but I add a few different ingredients to help give it a really light and fluffy texture. Of course, one of the main ingredients is butter. I really like to use the brand from Whole Foods that is unsalted. It's really light in color and it comes in this light blue box. The next ingredient is powdered sugar. I like to get it in these 2-pound bags. They sell them at my local grocery store, and I use one of these large bags for every box of butter that I use. So 2 pounds of powdered sugar for 1 pound of butter. Of course, there's a bit of salt in this since we're using unsalted butter. And we're also going to be adding in some vanilla. And now we're going to get to the part of this that really differentiates it from my classic American buttercream. We're going to be using a lot more heavy cream than we normally do, and that's going to help really whip it up and give it a lot of air. And I know it sounds crazy, but we're also going to be adding in some pasteurized egg whites. And last but not least, we're going to melt down some milk chocolate to add in as well. So to kick things off, we're going to add our box of butter, which is 1 pound, or 4 sticks, into our stand mixer, and we're going to beat that together until it's nice and smooth. Next, we're going to very slowly incorporate our bag of powdered sugar, which is 2 pounds, or the equivalent of about 8 cups of powdered sugar. So I like to really slowly sprinkle it into my butter with my KitchenAid spinning at a low speed. I always add it in a little bit too fast, so you can see there is a bit of a powdered sugar cloud here, but I really recommend that you add it in as slowly as you can so that you don't cover your whole kitchen in powdered sugar. It's important to take breaks while you're doing this and scrape around the sides of your bowl with a spatula just to make sure that all of the powdered sugar is getting incorporated. To help control those powdered sugar clouds, I also like to add in small splashes of heavy cream as I go, and that just makes the process a lot easier. Surprisingly enough, I added in that entire bag of powdered sugar without any heavy cream, so at this point I'm going to add in the entire half a cup into the frosting. And to mix this in, I'm doing little pulses with my KitchenAid, just because if you turn it on high right away, the heavy cream can shoot out of your bowl and cause a mess. So just keep that in mind whenever you're adding a lot of liquid into your frosting. So again, scraping around the sides of the bowl just to make sure that everything is getting nicely incorporated. I'm going to give it one more mix on a high speed for about 1 minute. And then we're going to get to the really fun part, which is adding in the melted chocolate. I'm melting down about 1 cup of milk chocolate chips, which is about 6 ounces. You can use whatever your favorite kind of chocolate is, just heat it up in the microwave until it's nice and smooth, and then slowly pour it into your frosting. For best results, I recommend letting the chocolate sit for about 5 minutes so that it's still in a liquid state but it's not super warm. This will just help keep your frosting from getting too runny from the heat of the chocolate. So I'm using my spatula one more time to get all the sides of the bowl. As you can see, there are some parts that still haven't really been incorporated with that chocolate. So I'm going to give it one more mix on a high speed before we incorporate our last ingredients. By using the whisk attachment for the KitchenAid and by mixing this on high, we've incorporated a lot of air into our frosting. As you can see, it's increased in volume and it has a really great fluffy texture. So next comes our kind of wild ingredient, which is egg whites. And I know that you think, oh my gosh, raw egg whites, that's terrifying. But these have been pasteurized, as you can see, so they've been treated with heat so that any harmful bacteria has been killed. And that's kind of the same thing you do when you heat up egg whites to add into a Swiss meringue buttercream. So this isn't as wild as you think, even though it does seem a bit out of the ordinary. So I really like adding in the egg whites because while the heavy cream helps the frosting get a lot of volume and kind of fluff up, the egg whites help give it a really smooth, silky texture, which you kind of want when you think of like a whipped frosting. So this is a really important ingredient and I really recommend not omitting it. So even if you're a little bit scared, just be brave, take the step, you won't regret it. Do be sure though to either use egg whites that have already been pasteurized, like the ones you can buy in a carton, or that you're going to heat up your egg whites over a double boiler just to make sure that your egg whites are safe to eat raw. Our whipped frosting is almost ready to go. We just have to add in our salt and vanilla. So I'm adding in a half a teaspoon of salt and also 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So once those are both added, we're going to mix this on high for 1 more minute just to make sure that it really gets nice and fluffy and that both of those ingredients are incorporated thoroughly throughout the frosting. And that's all there is to it. Our whipped chocolate frosting is ready. So this can be used to fill cakes, it could be used on cupcakes, you could even eat it with fresh fruit. The options are endless. The full recipe for this whipped chocolate frosting is up on Chelsweets.com, so if you have any questions you can refer to that, or you can leave them in the comment section below. I'd love to hear what other in-depth baking tutorials you guys would like to see, so if you have any ideas, feel free to share. I'm always open to suggestions. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Hopefully I'll see you guys again soon.